and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex on our new episode of Pop Culture News. The show, of course, where we tell you everything that's happened in the world of Funko Pops for the last week or so. So we're just going to jump right in and talk about stuff that's available now. Now these, of course, are Pops we talked about in past episodes that are now available and out in the wild. So the big one for this week is going to be from the television show Doug. Now, if you're someone that has a nostalgia for this show, which I know a lot of people do, I know there's going to be a lot of people excited to go grab these. Personally, not going to grab these myself, we had said in the previous episode, but I definitely know why they were made, and I know they're going to be popular. How about yourself?
I want all of these. I'm glad we got a little bit more of a confirmation on the rumor that we were talking about a few weeks ago about there being a quail man and a quail dog. Those are also out. So there's Doug, Patty, I believe there's Pork Chop, and then there are rumors that there may be a flock Pork Chop in the works coming out later. And then Quail Man and Quail Dog. I actually dressed up as Quail Man for a Halloween party a few years ago, so nice. That shows how much I enjoy this show. So I'm pretty excited about these.
Okay, so next up this week is going to be our announcements. These are things announced in the last week that are going to be coming soon. First up on the list is going to be from the cartoon series Gargoyles. I had a feeling they were going to do these eventually because this was a very popular show, and we had kind of talked about the possibility of it, and I believe it was in the rumors at one point in the past. But they are confirmed. They are doing a full line, I think there's a large line, of figures for the Gargoyles cartoon show. These are coming in July. I really like the gray ones that look like statues, the alternate color ones that look like the Gargoyle statues. Very cool. I don't know if I'm going to pick these up. This wasn't a huge nostalgia for me, but I definitely see what the appeal is for these, because if you're a fan of the show, they did an excellent job capturing these characters in pop form.
So this was a big power hour on Disney Channel's roster. It was the Mighty Ducks and then Gargoyles back to back, and that was something that I watched, until it was something that was a little past my my age bracket. This was a very entertaining show, and it had some really dark themes for being a children's-based show. And we had a release that was just a specialty series, one-off pop for Gargoyles, and I think that they threw that one out there to see if there was maybe a little bit of water. Yeah, a little testing of the waters. And then, surprisingly, they didn't just start off with Goliath, because that's the main character. That's the one that everybody wants. But I think that pop did well, because this line is massive. There's so many pieces. But definitely the statuette ones where they're actually they're still frozen in stone, those ones are the coolest ones of the set. I would actually probably pick those up for sure. I don't know if I'll pick up any of the regulars, but those stone ones, those would be a cool piece to have. So next up on the list is going to be a pair of pops coming out from Pan's Labyrinth. We've been seeing some of these more offshoot movies and more niche genre type films kind of getting their pieces. We talked about Baby Driver and how excited I am about those. Seeing Guillermo del Toro get a little more love is definitely something that's appreciated. He's an excellent director. He's already getting some pops for Shape of Water, which I loved. I loved Pan's Labyrinth when it came out. The figures that they're doing for these are super cool. I want both of them, especially the pale man with the eyes in his hand. So cool. Creature design, always a good thing, but these look absolutely fantastic. They're supposed to be coming out, I believe, in August.
I've actually never seen this movie. When it first came out, it appeared to be a horror movie. I have since learned that it really isn't a horror movie, so I should go back and watch it, but because of my initial impression of it from the trailers, I had skipped it. But I am a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro's work. I love what he did with Hellboy, along with a lot of other films he's done, so this is something on my list. So, after I watch the movie, I have a feeling I'm going to want them, but probably not going to pick them up until then.
Got a little bit of time to work that out, though.
Yeah.
All the way till August?
Not out till August, yeah. So next up on the list is going to be pops around the show I Love Lucy. Now, there is no show that's more classic than I Love Lucy. I mean, this was an iconic show. Not to mention the fact that it was a trendsetter in that entire industry. So this getting pops just makes sense. This needs to be celebrated. I watched it with my mom when I was younger, and I have a fondness of this show and these characters. Plus, it looks like, looking at the actual pops themselves, they did a good job of capturing the show. You've got characters from a moment in the show, like her with the chef's hat from the one episode with all the chocolate and stuff like that. And that's just awesome, because you look at them and you immediately know what they are. And I think the strongest pops are the ones where you take a glance at it, even without the box, and you know exactly who it is. If I see these, I will definitely pick these up, especially her with the chef hat and Ricky with the drum. Those are awesome.
So this is a big nostalgia gem for me as well. This is something I watched with my grandmother. We grew up with her living in the house until I was around 7 or 8, until she unfortunately passed away. It was definitely something that I had as a great memory with her when I was 4 or 5 watching the show and just laughing at all like the slapstick humor, which wasn't a super huge thing like on television, a slapstick humor that was also led by a woman. Like it was a big deal.
Strong female lead was not common then. That's very cool.
And on top of that, I don't think that there really is anything that exists that has more memorabilia than this show. And it's just a powerhouse when it comes to that sort of thing. My wife is also a huge fan of this show, so we'll probably end up having all of these. The ones that I'm really looking for are the black and white ones, though. Yeah. It's super interesting how they chose to make the colors, and it really works. It looks like you're back watching an old TRT, watching a black and white episode of the show, which is super cool.
These come out in August. If you're excited about this, like we are, I highly suggest keeping an eye out starting August. And we'll, of course, let you know when that time comes when they are revealed.
So the last on the list for our announcements is going to be an 8-bit Batman. It's a color variant on the one that's already been previously released. This one is going to be Entertainment Earth exclusive. They've been doing a lot of this, where they're taking something that's already been done, doing a cool color variant like they did with the tricolor xenomorph and some of the other things. They're doing a lot more of these, so I would expect to see more of them. I don't know if I'm going to end up picking this one up. The colors are a little weird to me.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, it's a little purpley, and I mean, you know, Batman's got those, you know, those specific colors that you think of, either the blue or the black, and you know, and I just don't know if it's for me. I might, if it pops up in the wild somewhere and I can get it for a decent price, maybe I'll grab it. But my guess is if we see it anywhere here in an actual brick and mortar store, it's going to be a little expensive.
I have the original one, the one this is based off of, and I really like the color scheme of that one. Like you had said, I don't really understand what they're going for with this one. I immediately saw it. I'm a huge Batman fan, and I'm like, what is it supposed to be? Bizarro Batman? Like Bat-Zorro? I don't know what it's supposed to be. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So because the color variant doesn't really click for me, it's probably not something I'm going to pick up, especially being Entertainment Earth, because you got to get it from them, shipping, all of that. So not a big one for me. So next up on the list, we're going to start our rumor section. This, of course, is things that are not verified, but come from sources that tend to be true. So we like to let you know what we think is going to happen. So first up on the list, we got a chunk of Hot Topic rumors from a source that usually has a lot of knowledge when it comes to Hot Topic. First thing that they mentioned was going to be some Power Rangers pops. Something special in that line coming out, and I look forward to see more Power Rangers pops, because I know a lot of the stuff they've been coming out with is pretty cool. If you're a fan of the TV show, or even a fan of the movie, I have a feeling this could probably be the TV show. This could be something really excited. We don't have any details about what it's going to be, but it looks like there's going to be something Zorg related, or very interested to see what's going to come out of this. Also, there's some rumors that there's going to be a Supernatural pop with the Chase variant. Obviously, that show is amazing, so anything they bring out from that would be awesome, and it's really sky's the limit, because there's not a lot of pops from that line out right now. So they really have a lot to choose from the extremely long season run that show has had.
Oh yeah, so much content.
Yeah, there is a lot to choose from, especially with some of the actors that were in that really getting mainstream right now. So doing their older characters would be pretty cool. Jeffrey Dean Morgan comes to mind as one of the many.
Or Felicia Day as Charlie.
Yeah, Felicia Day would be awesome. And then there's a rumor that's apparently some July pops coming that are under the sea? I don't know. It sounds like a Little Mermaid thing. I know there's a Little Mermaid movie coming out that's not Disney, but I also know that they're working on a live-action Little Mermaid, so it could be linked to that, but that could mean anything.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing what comes to be from that.
All right, so next up on the list, we talked a couple of weeks ago about them doing a Bob's Big Boy 10th anniversary, or was it 20th anniversary pop?
20th, yeah.
20th anniversary Funko Pop, because it was 20 years since the first that they released was also a Bob's Big Boy. It's interesting that that's the place that they started at. Now, I think they're trying to dig in a little bit and maybe try to do more of these advertisement-based ones based around different like food items and stuff. I know that on the list that they're showing, they're doing Bazooka Joe, the Twinkie the Kid. They're also doing the Noid from Domino's. There are a couple of them on the list. Those ones are probably the ones I'd be most excited about. They're also supposed to be doing a Sugar Bear and Captain Crunch. So some big like cereal and food-based names out there. You know, it'd be interesting to see some of these as pops. I think personally, Captain Crunch might look a little creepy as a pop, but I guess we'll see if we get pictures or if this ends up being something that becomes verified.
I think Captain Crunch looks creepy already.
But to be fair, just all black. Oh no, the eyes, it would just be it'd be a little too creepy for me. But I mean, maybe it'll turn out cool. I don't know if it's something that I would pick up. I might pick up the Noid just for goofy video game nostalgia. But I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be interested in these. Same as with the Bob's Big Boy. Not something like if I were really, really into like food advertisements, which I know there are some people that are, they wouldn't exist if there weren't. I just don't know if it's something for me. How about you?
Yeah, I know there's already a line of cereal mascots out there, and I see that they're actually they're worth a lot, so they're hard to get. And I see people picking them up on the subreddit and stuff like that. So I know there's a huge market for these. But aside from the Noid, which has a video game link for me, I'd love to see like a 7-Up spot one. Because of that game, that'd be really cool. Yeah. But, I mean, it really depends if that specific marketing campaign really it resonated with you or not. If it resonated with you and it's something nostalgia when you were younger, I can see doing it. Like, I'd love to see a Tony the Tiger one. I know there is one and it's super expensive. Yeah, some of those, you know, the Lucky Charm Leprechaun, that'd be really cool. There is one and it's crazy expensive. But I can see why these are appealing, but these specific ones that are rumored, probably not going to pick these up unless I see the Noid out in the background. So next up, there was a list posted online of a confirmation of sorts for a lot of specifics of the rumors we talked about the last couple weeks. So I'm going to include the entire list in the description so you can see them because it is way too long to go over each one in the video, but we're going to talk about the ones we're specifically excited about. Like we had talked about, for example, there was a Married with Children line possibly coming out. Now we know exactly what's in it. So it's going to be all 4 family members. It's going to be Peggy, Al, Kelly, and Bud. So of course the 2 kids and the 2 parents from Married with Children. That's what you expect. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the neighbors or the 2 sets of neighbors because they changed in the series, but having the core family is what's most important. These I am personally going to try to find and pick up because I was a huge fan of this growing up. It just seemed like you were doing something wrong as a kid watching this show, and I really liked that. Now, of course, it's commonplace to have these dysfunctional families as a comedy show, and that's normal. But at that time, it was just, you weren't really supposed to watch this. And I loved it. The humor is fantastic in it. So they're dysfunctional but lovable.
One of the ones that I'm excited about are the Spider-Man pops that they're talking about doing. In particular, I was excited to see if they're going to be based around the new animated film that's coming out later this year. And it looks like we're getting a little closer to a confirmation for that. The first one on the list is for Miles Morales. And that's a big confirmation there.
Pretty much the only thing he's in. So yeah, it would have to be that.
So there are a couple for Miles. There's a Spider-Gwen on there. So I mean, that would be interesting to see if that bears any fruit as far as the movie is concerned. But there are a couple of other characters based around villains and stuff. I think Green Goblin is on the list. I'm excited to see what they actually look like. But just the fact that there's a Miles Morales pop at all, I want to have that for sure.
Next up on the list for me is going to be the line of Simpsons Pops, which we also mentioned a couple weeks ago that they were probably doing. This is the second wave of Simpsons Pops, and I'm hoping they're going to look better than the first wave of Simpsons Pops because their sculpts weren't that great, but it was a while ago, so they've learned quite a bit since then. But the one on the list that I'm most excited about is Bartman. If you're my age or around my age, you were the perfect age when Do the Bartman came out, and that is something that resonated with me as a child and will stick with me my entire life. So having a pop of Bartman would be amazing. The Simpsons was probably the most iconic show for me as a kid, and growing up it stayed that way. I still watch it, even though obviously this many seasons in it's not as good as it used to be. I still watch it and I still love it. The Simpsons has a special place in my heart, and I look forward to picking up everything from this series. It includes a lot of the characters you'd expect. It has Abe, it has Mr. Burns.
It's got Lisa with her saxophone.
Of course, yeah, you gotta have Lisa with the saxophone. It's got Homer Pie Man. I look forward to seeing that. Him as the makeshift superhero. That's fantastic. And it's also got Moe and Maggie. So a lot of the stuff that was missing from the original run, plus some bonus stuff. I'd love to get. I could do like a top 30 list of Simpsons Pops I'd like to see. That might be something we do in the future because there are so many characters and so many iconic moments from that show that I'd love to see a Who Shot Mr. Burns movie moment pop of just Maggie with the gun, which was absolutely ridiculous. But sorry for the spoiler that's like 20 to 30 years too late. But
doesn't count after that.
Yeah, it doesn't count anymore. But yeah, the Simpsons Pops, super excited about this.
And a really untapped market just because they've only done the one run. And for being, I'm pretty sure at this point it's the longest running show on television, pretty darn close. If the only thing that might beat it out maybe is Saturday Night Live. If it does, I'd be shocked. But at least as far as like a sitcom is concerned, it is definitely the longest running show on television. So the next up on the list for me is going to be the ones based around the Flash TV show. I know that there are a couple of these that exist at this point, but it looks like they're going to try to get things a little bit more current in the series. So there's going to be one for the Flash, one for Kid Flash, one for Jay Garrett, and then the one that I'm most excited about is Vibe. The character is super well portrayed on the show. It just has a really interesting feel to it, just kind of like that nerdy, techie kind of thing.
That's a good vibe.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. I really like it. It resonates with me as a person who is a nerdy, techie person, and I love it. I hope that it looks good, and I hope that they get like the costume and everything right. I'm excited to see what these turn out like, so I, can match them up to the TV show, and my wife will also like these a lot because she loves the Flash.
So last up off this list is one that we're both very interested in. It looks like it's supposed to be a movie moment of Joker in the alley. We had a conversation before we started recording about what that's from, because Joker's been in the alley a lot. And he thinks it's going to be from Killing Joke. I was leaning more towards from Hush, where Batman just being the you-know-what out of him. Commissioner Gordon pulls him off. There's so many iconic scenes that occur with Joker in the alleys that I'm looking forward to see what this is going to be. But whatever it's going to be, I'm going to want it.
Yeah.
So I think this is probably the one I'm most excited about on the list. Curious to see what the actual details and to see it. That's the exciting part about the rumor section is you don't get a picture a majority of the time, and it's just your mind can just speculate and go wild on what you want it to be.
So the last on our rumors list is kind of a sad moment. It's something that we haven't had to do yet on this show, and I'm kind of disappointed that we have to do it for this one specifically because I was really excited about this. Don't know if it's for sure 100% canceled, but it has been removed from pre-orders from GameStop's website. It's going to be the ride based around Jurassic Park. I was really excited about this pop. I've been snatching up Jurassic Park pops as much as I can, just because I really, really love that franchise, and the characters are just so rich and vibrant. And this one would have been a nice little piece to put on the top. But they're saying that there's a potential that it may not be full-blown canceled, that it might just not be happening through GameStop anymore, and that it may be something that might become a con exclusive, or maybe you get a wider release, which would be better. It is a little bit disappointing to see that maybe this pop might not be happening anymore. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't personally going to be picking this one up, but I know there are a lot of really big Jurassic Park fans out there. And this was not only a cool pop in itself, but it was also the only one I believe that she was in, because yeah, it was her driving the Jeep. So it'll be sad if they don't have her involved in the line because they canceled this. But, like you said, it could just be the game. It's not a GameStop exclusive anymore, so they can't do the pre-orders anymore. But they did refund all the pre-orders for that. So we will see what that ends up being. I'm curious to know, did you pick up anything up this week? We're about to show what we got this week, but I always want to know what everybody's picking up. Did you get ideas for myself and to celebrate with everybody what they found? Whether it was a grail or just a regular pickup, let us know down in the comment section below. I love to hear that. Or, of course, hit us up on Twitter as well. So when it comes to our haul section this week, I only picked up one, but man, is it an awesome one. So I was able to get the Invader Zim riding the pig ride, I guess it would be. And I expected this to be like small. I expected this to be just a regular size pop. Man, was I excited when I got there and this giant box was there. This is amazing. This is probably in the top 10 that I own. I'm so excited about this one. Plus, as a bonus, it's got Gurr riding on the top with his arms up. This is just an amazing, amazing pop. And if you've watched this show or our movie reviews for a while, you've probably seen me in my Invader Zim shirt. It is basically exactly what's on my shirt. So I am a huge fan. This is amazing. Did you get to pick anything up this week?
I haven't gotten around anything, unfortunately, but I have had my eye on that It movie moment. There are plenty of them still at our local Hot Topic. I'm going to pick it up as soon as I can. It's just scratch. Gotta find that money. But once I do, back to pop hunting as usual.
Yeah, the Hot Cash coupons are going to get valid at Hot Topic pretty soon here. I want to get that Deadpool cable moment, which looks amazing as well. A sneak peek into the next haul section, I'm sure. But that's half the fun. Like I said, let us know in the comment section below or on Twitter if you've picked anything up. Feel free to send us pictures. We love sharing in the fandom with our viewers. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We do a minimum of 4 videos a week, including movie reviews, Funko Pop news, and a bunch of gaming content. If you're interested in getting one of our t-shirts, the link is down in the description. And as always, we hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.